Invisible accident. Jack was always curious. He loved magic and mysteries. His grandfather once told him about an invisible cloak from an old tale. If you wear it, no one can see you. His grandfather had said with a twinkle in his eyes. Since then, Jack dreamt of having one. One day, after school, Jack went to a garage sale. He loved exploring old things. In a corner, he found a beautiful, old cloak. The seller, an old woman, saw Jack's interest and whispered, "This is a special cloak, but you must use it wisely." Jack bought it immediately, thinking of his grandfather's tale. That evening, as he wrapped the cloak around him, he realized he couldn't see his hands. He was invisible. Excited, Jack went out to explore. He roamed around, watching people without being noticed. It was fun at first. However, things took a turn when he entered a busy road. He was invisible, and cars couldn't see him. As Jack tried to cross, a car came speeding. It didn't slow down because the driver couldn't see Jack. Panicking, Jack tried to run but tripped over a stone. Just as the car was about to hit, a strong hand pulled him away. Jack removed the cloak and saw a very upset man. "Are you trying to get yourself killed? Why were you lying on the road?" he shouted. Jack was too shocked to explain. He thanked the man and went home, thinking about the accident that could have happened. The invisible cloak wasn't fun anymore. He realized some things, even if magical, could be dangerous. The next day, Jack returned the cloak to the old woman. He didn't tell her about the incident but mentioned he wasn't ready for its power. She smiled. "You're wiser now," she said. Jack learned a crucial lesson: not all that looks fun is safe. He decided to enjoy magic through books and tales, keeping a safe distance from real adventures. Space Wars. In the year 2150, space travel was as common as taking a bus ride. Earth had alliances with many planets, but not all. Planet Xenon was Earth's biggest rival. The Xenonians wanted Earth's water, while humans were interested in Xenon's advanced technology. Sarah and her brother, Tom, were young astronauts, training in Earth's main space academy. They had heard tales of Xenon's powerful spaceships and the wars in space. But they had never experienced it. One day, during a routine space drill, Sarah, Tom, and their team noticed a group of unidentified spaceships approaching. They were sleek, fast, and had the symbol of Xenon. The space alarm echoed. All units prepare for a possible space confrontation with Xenon. Sarah's heart raced. She had only trained for this, never actually been in a space war. The team got into their battle positions. The Xenonian sent a message: hand over your resources, or prepare for war. Tom, being the unit leader, replied, "Earth does not negotiate with threats. Leave or face consequences." Both sides knew the cost of a space war. The vacuum of space was filled with laser beams and missile trails. Sarah's ship was hit, but she managed a narrow escape, hiding behind an asteroid. The battle was fierce. Hours felt like minutes. Just when things looked bleak for Earth, reinforcements arrived. More Earth spaceships, bigger and better armed, joined the fight. Seeing this, the Xenonians retreated, realizing they were outnumbered. A cheer erupted among the Earth's units. They had defended their homeland. The war was short but intense. Sarah and Tom returned to Earth as heroes. The incident led to peace talks between Earth and Xenon. Both planets realized the destruction a full-blown war could cause. Years later, Sarah would tell her grandchildren about the day Earth almost lost its freedom and how they should always value peace over war. Because in space, as on Earth, wars have consequences. The new list. Lara always loved making lists. Every night before bed, she wrote a list for the next day. It helped her feel organized and ready for whatever came her way. One evening, as she was preparing her list for the next day, her younger brother Max peeked over her shoulder. "What are you writing?" he asked with curiosity. "It's my list for tomorrow," Lara replied, showing him the paper. It had things like finish math homework, read 20 pages of my book, and help Mom with dinner. Max thought for a moment. "Can I make a list too?" he asked. Lara smiled, handing him a paper and pencil. "Of course. It's fun." Max started writing eagerly. After a few minutes, he showed his list to Lara. Instead of chores and tasks, Max's list was filled with fun activities. Play with my toy cars, build a pillow fort, stargaze from the balcony, and have an ice cream after dinner. Lara laughed. "Your list is very different from mine." Max shrugged. "I think lists should have fun things too. Why not mix both?" Lara thought about it and realized Max had a point. The next day, she added dance to my favorite song and watch a movie with Max to her list. The siblings spent the day crossing off tasks and activities from their lists. By night, they had not only finished their responsibilities but also had a lot of fun. From that day on, Lara's lists always had a mix of tasks and fun activities. And sometimes, the fun activities were the most important ones. After all, life isn't just about getting things done, it's also about enjoying the little moments. Ex-girlfriend. Tim walked into his favorite coffee shop, Cafe Moments, hoping to spend some quiet time with his book. As he approached the counter, a familiar voice reached his ears. It was Lisa, his ex-girlfriend. He hadn't seen her in over a year. Tim felt a rush of emotions, surprise, nostalgia, and a hint of nervousness. He decided to approach her. "Lisa?" he said, hoping she would recognize him. Lisa turned around, her eyes widening in surprise. "Tim? Oh my gosh, how have you been?" They decided to sit down and catch up. It was a bit awkward at first, recalling memories from their past, but soon they found themselves laughing over old jokes and reminiscing about their shared moments. Lisa had moved to another city for a job but was back in town for a few days. Tim had started his own graphic design business, which was doing quite well. They talked about their current lives, avoiding the topic of their breakup. As they sipped their coffees, Tim realized that they had both grown and changed a lot. The reasons they had broken up seemed so insignificant now. They had been young, impulsive, and had made hasty decisions. The afternoon turned to evening, and they realized they had spent hours talking. "It was really good seeing you, Lisa," said Tim, feeling a sense of closure he didn't know he needed. Lisa smiled. "Same here, Tim. I'm glad we can be friends." As they parted ways, Tim felt lighter. Sometimes, revisiting the past can be painful, but it can also be healing. Today, he had found a friend in someone he had once lost. Apple trees. In a small village named Alden, everyone knew each other. But more than the people, what Alden was famous for was its apple trees. Every fall, the village would turn into a vibrant hue of red and green as apples bloomed in abundance. Jenny was a young girl who lived in Alden. Her grandparents owned the largest apple orchard in the village. Every year, she would look forward to the apple picking season. It wasn't just about the delicious fruit, it was about the memories she created during that time. This year was extra special. Jenny's cousin, Max, was visiting from the city. Max had heard tales of the famous Alden apples but had never tasted one. Jenny was determined to give him the full apple-picking experience. One sunny morning, the two of them set out with large baskets. As they walked through the orchard, Jenny taught Max how to choose the ripest apples. They laughed and competed to see who could pick the most. By noon, their baskets were full. They decided to rest under an old apple tree. As they bit into the juicy apples, Max said, "These are the best apples I've ever tasted." Jenny smiled. "It's not just the apples, it's the love and care we put into growing them." That evening, the whole family gathered to make apple pies. Max tried his hand at baking for the first time, and though the pie was a bit misshapen, it tasted heavenly. As days turned into weeks, Max became a part of the village, helping in the orchard, playing with the local kids, and enjoying the serene beauty of Alden. On the day of his departure, Jenny gifted him a sapling of an apple tree. "So you can grow a piece of Alden in the city," she said. Tears in his eyes, Max hugged her. "Thank you for the memories. I'll cherish them forever." The story of Alden's apple trees wasn't just about the fruit. It was about the bonds, the memories, and the love shared beneath their shade.